Hey, what is up, naturals? How are you? Welcome to my new office. We're still working on the decor. This video is all about why some people can't understand you. Yes. I don't mean for this to be a negative video. I don't mean for this to be making fun of you or to say that your English is bad. It's not. If you can understand me right now, your English is awesome. But we've all been there. Even when we speak a language really well, like I speak Portuguese really well, but there have been situations where I'm trying to communicate and the person who I'm trying to speak with doesn't understand me. So in this video, I'm gonna share many different reasons why native English speakers and even other non-native English speakers, anyone who's speaking English with you, might not be able to understand you sometimes or all of the time. Not to make fun of you, not to tell you how horrible your English is, but actually to point out these very specific reasons so that you can fix them and you can do better. And each day you can improve your English fluency, because each day you're learning English a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And after this video, you're gonna be a lot better in English. You're gonna be able to fix these errors that you may be making that may be confusing other people, and your English fluency is going to improve so much. So if it's okay for me to share these points with you, then let's do it. So I remember when I was in Brazil a few months ago, I went to the supermarket, and this memory is the whole reason for this video. I remember I went to the supermarket looking for cilantro, and I actually learned Spanish before I learned Portuguese. So I was thinking cilantro is the same in Portuguese. Big mistake. Big mistake on my part. I know Portuguese is not the same as Spanish, but sometimes there are some words that are the same. For example, amigo is in Spanish and Portuguese. Hey, amigo. Anyway, I wasn't looking for a friend in the supermarket. I was looking for cilantro, which is cilantro in English, is cilantro in Spanish. But I asked in Brazil for cilantro, and the guy at the supermarket had no idea what I was talking about. He's like, what? And I kept saying it slightly different. Cilantro? 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 And he was just like, no, girl, I don't understand anything you're saying. What are you talking about? Crazy gringa. But finally, after I left the supermarket without cilantro, I was able to look up this word in a Portuguese dictionary, and I finally realized it is not cilantro at all. That cilantro in English is coentro in Portuguese. So yay, now I know how to say cilantro in Portuguese, and I'll never forget because of that situation. But that is one reason why some people may not understand you in English, because you may be using what's called a false cognate or a false friend. We don't want no false friends. Excuse my bad grammar. That's just, you know, how we talk sometimes, because why not? We would not like any false friends. Let's have correct grammar here, all right? This is some serious English learning. So be careful of false cognates in English. So for example, another one in French would be like attendre is not to attend, although they're very similar. That's a false friend or a false cognate in English. Or like, oh, librairie or la librería in Spanish is not library in English, it's the bookstore. So even though library sounds like la librería or la librairie, sorry for my French accent, it's not the same. It's a different thing. Or like in French, la magazine is not a magazine in English, it's a store. So I think these things are so interesting. What I learned actually is that in a store they used to sell magazines, and maybe that's where the word magazine came from. I don't know. I think it's interesting. So if you know any other false cognates or false friends in English that come from your language, write them in the comments. Let's learn from each other. Another reason why people might not be able to understand your English is a lack of correct syllable stress. Stress in English is super important, even more important in my opinion than pronunciation. Well, stress is a kind of pronunciation, but what I mean is stress is more important than individual letter sounds. So let me give you an example. I live in Missouri, which is a state in the middle of the United States. If I said the same sounds but with a different stress, it would be misery, not Missouri. Okay, Missouri is the state, but misery means sadness. So if I said I live in misery, that's a completely different meaning. And honestly, if I just interjected that into our conversation, you'd probably think that I had problems. I'm probably depressed and I need to go get some help. So people might not understand you if you have the wrong syllable stress. So be careful about that. Also, if you have the wrong vowel sound going on in your words, vowels are super confusing, but also very, very, very important in English. I remember once when I was living in Boston and I went to a salon and I wanted to get my eyebrows waxed, and the woman there, she was a non-native English speaker. English was super good, but she had some issues with vowel sounds, and she asked me if I wanted my brows the simship. And I was like, the simship? What is that? What is the simship brow? I just wanted a simple, you know, brow waxing, and I was like, I don't know, the simship just... Oh, the same shape. She was asking if I wanted my brows to be the same shape or if I wanted them to be shaped differently. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. When you go get your brows done, this is a very important matter. You don't want any misunderstandings. But I finally figured it out. She was asking if I wanted the same shape. These are long vowel sounds. So if you don't make the right vowel sound, people might not understand you in English. So be careful with those vowels out there. You could be messing up people's brows. That's dangerous. Another reason why some people might not understand your English is actually your English might be from a different region. So you might actually know a different English than they do. For example, if you're out here in Missouri where I'm living and you start using British English, you're like, hey mate, wanna have a chin wag? Or what? I'm horrible at British English, but a chin wag is not something that someone is gonna understand out here. I think that means to chat. If you start using some regional English from another country, like saying mate or a chin wag or to take the piss out of someone, that's just something that we don't understand out here. Unless, of course, we've been to the UK or Australia, or we have more exposure. But if you're speaking in a way that's not common where you are currently, some people might not understand you. So keep that in mind. When I was teaching English in Japan to scientists, I had one of my students, super smart woman, super brilliant with science and language and everything, using really academic words. And once she asked me how my homeostasis was, and she just wanted to ask, how are you? But instead she was using this really academic word. So if you're using overly academic words, people might not understand what you're saying. So keep it simple, keep it clear. Another reason why people might not understand what you're saying is if you're using overly complicated verb tenses. So if you're trying to use these really advanced grammar structures and you're like, last Tuesday I had a taco for dinner, I would be waiting for you to finish your thought, because had is not really a verb tense that we would just use on its own like that. There would be something else coming. So it'd be like, you had a taco and then what? We just need the simple past there. I had a taco, that's it. Great, I would love a taco right now. I'm so hungry. Anyway, keep it simple. Keep it simple with your vocabulary, keep it simple with your verb tenses. Let's not overcomplicate things. Let's keep it clear and simple. Now, on the other hand, the final reason, and possibly most common reason why some other people might not understand your English is actually not even about you. It's about them. When you come to the US, especially if you come to a smaller city, you may meet people who have never left their city. You may meet people who have never been to another country or spoken to people who are not from their state. You may meet people who have never spoken to someone who speaks English as a second language, and there's some things that are a little bit different about the way that you communicate. They might just not be used to it. So it's actually that they're not used to you, and it's not really your fault. So if you meet someone who's never been out of the United States, or if you meet someone who's never tried to learn another language or never had the opportunity to learn another language, they don't really know as much as you do about communication. So give them a break, be patient, explain yourself in different words, and be curious about what they can teach you and what you can teach them. Anyway, I hope that these suggestions, these specific points, will help you to understand why some people might not be understanding you. Remember, it might not even be about you, but the things that you can control are things like learning about common vocabulary that we use in different regions. You know, use the words that people commonly use where you are. Think about syllable stress. Think about false cognates. Be careful with those. Think about using simple tenses. Don't try to overcomplicate things using academic words. Oh, and of course, keep it clear, keep it simple, and speak confidently. Speak loud enough so that people can actually hear you. Obviously, people won't understand what you're saying if they can't hear you in the first place. So be loud, be proud, make eye contact, and help other people to understand you, because you have so much to share with the world. You are awesome, and we want to know all about you, where you're from, your life. So let's keep it going. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, share it, leave a comment, like it, subscribe, do all the things. I would love to have you as part of our YouTube community here at Go Natural English. So make sure to click right down there. Oh, just kidding. Right down there to subscribe and get on the Go Natural English train. And I will see you soon in another video. Bye for now. Mwah.